Welcome back to another episode of the Ripple Effect Podcast, where we challenge the narrative and we dive into deep conversations. I'm Quattro.
I'm Diesel.
And let's dive in. Today, we're tackling three major questions that might seem separate at first, but are actually deeply connected. Is the gender war real? Number two, how do you build generational wealth without a nuclear family? Number three, is most stress self-inflicted? And number four, we'll have a reaction video. Our first topic, is the gender war real? Or is it just another social media fueled illusion that's keeping men and women at odds instead of working together? If we're constantly battling each other, how can we ever build anything meaningful, especially when it comes to a family and legacy? Let's dive in. So that first topic, that's a strong one, my brother.
Mm-hmm.
What do you feel about it? The gender war. Dun, dun, dun.
If I'm being honest, I've been hearing about it for God knows how long, and for a while, I've been telling myself that I don't see a gender war, so it doesn't exist. But just based on my newfound desire just to have a little bit more empathy and be a little bit more understanding, I decided to be a little bit more open-minded to other people's perspective of what's going on and what's happening in the world. And so that's why I decided, this is probably a topic that we can just discuss openly. And what initially drew me to bringing it up this week was when I was doing my research, I did come across some interesting articles, and this first one here.
Okay.
This one broke it down from a big picture perspective, talking about more so from a countrywide condition of it being viewed as authoritarianism in regards to the policy. So because again, when I'm hearing about it in the digital streets, it's more so like the gender war is about just men and women in regards to their obsession with sex at the end of the day.
Yeah.
However, this position was more so coming from, again, a policy position, and I was like, okay, I understand that. I can get jiggy with that, as they would say. Mm-hmm. And so again, one of the things that stuck out to me, it said, if the overall aim of U.S. national strategy is to shore up democracy and democratic freedoms, the treatment of women and girls cannot be ignored. Mm-hmm. And that always piques my interest, because going back to the whole idea of us having some level of a national and family unity, why are we always trying to create lines of division through gender or sex or identity?
I think it goes back to that overall premise of divide and conquer.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that this whole gender war thing is something that was premeditated through the effects of the whole Jim Crow and segregation and all that, because I feel as though we're having this gender war because women feel that they have been holding it down. Mm-hmm. And you got to give them their credit. They have been holding it down. And we have had a lot of single parent households, raised by single mothers. So that meant the single mother, she had to work, she had to pay bills, she had to provide the home, provide the clothes and everything. And they did big ups to all the single woman out there that's doing their thing. I was raised by a single female, and shout out to my mom. But at the end of the day, it also created a mentality, and it created an entitlement that they don't necessarily realize that is all part of the game.
Yeah,
it was all part of the game to work against us. So now, if our women are the breadwinners and our women are holding it down and being the more responsible one, what do they need from a man? And if they don't need nothing from a man, what kind of respect will they give a man? Mm-hmm. And it's all about respect, when we're dealing with each other. Even if you're in relationships or partnerships or friendships, you have to respect the people that you're in this commitment with. Whether it's a commitment to get money, a commitment to be married, or a commitment to, do anything.
Right.
You got to have respect for the people that you with. So therefore, us being, penalized for, the color of our skin and us being men, and the women being able to rise faster in corporate America, that kind of created animosity.
Okay.
It created a disconnect between the man and the woman, and so now, therefore, that's one element of the gender war. That's as a result of that.
And it's to piggyback on what you said, pick up what you put down. As you said, they've been holding it down. So when I was doing my research, when I was looking at the articles and whatnot, that's pretty much what I was discovering from the context I was observing it through, when I was trying to get a better understanding of what the gender war actually represented. And you kind of alluded to it in regards to this sense of animosity from women, because again, women have felt that they've been thrust into the quote unquote male role of being the breadwinner or the head of household by nature of single motherhood. And because I'll read it here, it said men's goal seems to be to push women out of the workforce and positions of political power and into more traditional roles of wife and mother, whereas women's goal seems to be to push themselves into the workforce and positions of political power and out of more traditional roles of wife and mother. And that's what I can clearly see as a gender war. Like to me, I can see that as the gender war, not necessarily this obsession with sex and who he with or who she with, per se. Right. But on a more bigger picture level, like that's what I'm seeing.
Right.
I can acknowledge, accept, and agree that I am seeing that. Where again, you got men still trying to still trying to embrace this patriarchal philosophy of, again, I'm gonna be the man and you be the woman and you be my helpmeet and da. Whereas the women are more so like, nah, we've evolved, quote unquote.
So they think
we have evolved, and now we can do the things that you've done in regards to provision, and so that's why we don't need you. But that's where I believe women have it messed up.
And they're correct to a certain extent.
What extent?
To the extent that if this life only involved them. But when we're talking about raising families, and having children,
right. You need, right, and that's where I think they don't understand.
Right,
exactly.
And that's where they get the lines blurred a little bit, in my opinion.
Because if you, not to cut your wisdom off, but to your point, if you're going to live a single life, then you don't need a man. If you're just going to be by yourself and you just need, because if you're going to be by yourself, you're going to need to have some money.
Right.
So if you believe that you can make money and you don't need, you are correct in that regards. But if your intent is to have a group, be involved with a group, have a family, man, woman, and children, and you do need a man, just like the man needs the woman. And it ain't about want or desire, because again, we have to elevate beyond our low level hedonistic desires for just pleasure in regards to sexual obsession, you know what I mean?
Right.
So if you can elevate, a sin higher, then you're going to need a man and a man's going to need a woman.
Yes, because that's how it was created. That's the design. Charleston White has said, he referred to something about, that's nature. The man being stronger than the woman or whatever the case may be, that's nature. And we're not here to change nature. We can't change nature.
We can't, right.
Nature is in everything, in the animals.
It's inherent.
It's inherent. It's something that's there. Like if you look at wildlife, the male is dominant than the woman, whatever the case may be. When you look at all different societies and civilizations, the men held it down, whether it was through army, whether it was through providing, hunting,
sheer force and
gathering.
Dominance.
The men had to hold it down, and the women had their space and their role as holding it down to, to prepare and to make the things that the men gathered whole. Because if we just got gatherers and we just gathering all these elements, you need somebody to make, like what Luther say, a chair is not a chair and a house is not a home. If you don't have a woman, the woman makes that.
Yeah.
And I just want to speak to the women and say that y'all have the most important job on the planet. To be a mother and to be a wife. That's what makes the world go round. And and being a wife, that means you're responsible for the nutrition. It ain't just about being in the kitchen and being barefoot,
being somebody's slave,
and being subservient to a man. No, it's as the wife, I remember I heard Farrakhan talking about his wife. He was like, "I love my wife. Without my wife, I wouldn't have all the nutrition in my body. I wouldn't have the energy and things that I need to go on, and my children would be all, malnutritioned and wouldn't have the education and the love and support that they need to withstand the world. The world is cruel."
So just to kind of piggyback on your point about the woman's role in the kitchen, I was talking to a gentleman who I did invite out on the podcast because he was very proficient in organic foods.
Okay.
So health. And he made a point. He was like, the woman's job, she's the pharmacist. He was like, when you go to Rite Aid or CVS, he was like, that's a drugstore.
Right.
He was just like, but when you growing your crops, your organic foods, that's the farm. He was like, so the farm, and then so she's the pharmacist.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
The pharmacist, right.
And when he said it like that, I was like, damn, like that makes perfect sense, And but again,
essential.
we've taken that role. Well, the programming and the propaganda has, in a sense, made both man and woman kind of lose sight of their true roles in that regards, and within the family nuclear unit. You know what I mean? So I was just like, because when you said that just now, I was like, that's what old boy was talking about.
Yeah, they lost the value within themselves. The man has never degraded the woman. We understand. We need you. We want you. We understand that. But through feminist movements and welfare and the government giving you money to make sure you don't have no man in the house and all those things. Those things matter, and they have consequences and effects on society.
Yes.
And I think now we're just living in the aftermath of all said things that were put in place to kind of make us disarrayed and
lines of dissension and division, as they would say, because again, I understand. I can understand again the perceived threat of loss or risk that a woman experiences because in her mind she's depending on the man. But I believe that's the problem. I was on a podcast, I believe earlier this month or last month, and she actually made a good point toward the end where we kind of got on the same page when it comes to that relationship between man and woman. I started saying we need more collaborators as men and women, as opposed to the man and woman trying to find someone to quote unquote cooperate with their program in the level of in a matter of codependency. Because if as man and woman, if the intent is to depend on somebody for something, I need her to take care of me in the house and the kids, I need him to take care of, like, inevitably that's going to become some unsustainable at some point. You know what I mean? And then you're gonna have some tension here. And why it's going to be unsustainable? Because again, it's a codependent relationship.
Okay.
And again, we're human. So at some point in time, one of us is going to want to quote unquote break. We're not going to want to do it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And that's going to create tension within the relationship because because now the expectation of predictability now. You know what I mean?
So take that point. So what happens when the man needs a break or the woman needs a break?
That's where that's why I was gonna say that's why if we approach it from more so a position of collaboration, where we're not necessarily seeking to depend on each other or cooperate with each other's quote unquote terms, we're more so in alignment in regards to our values and views, so that there is no like you're supposed to be doing this for me. I'm supposed to be doing this for you.
What does that actually look like? So that's
what I'm saying. So
you'll go to work and I'll stay home with the kids?
Whatever works for that group.
But I'm saying, like, is that an example?
I don't know.
Is that like a
that could be an example, because there are some couples where it works for the man to be the quote unquote stay at home parent and the woman to be the breadwinner.
Well, not to stay at home at like permanent roles, but you were saying like at some point you get tired and you need a break. So what I'm asking you is it ideal for maybe
I guess the situational.
The woman will have to.
I don't have any specific situational, but that's my point. When you're in alignment, when it comes to your vision for the future and your values with a person, that stuff that doesn't seem to stop you guys from making progress. Because again, there's some level of understanding because y'all is in alignment. But when y'all not in alignment, that's where the tension is coming from. Because again, you believe as quote unquote a man, she's supposed to cut my meat. You know what I'm saying? but she like, you a grown man.
Shout out to Loretta Bobbitt. What was her name? Lorena Bobbitt.
So
She cut the meat for sure.
yeah, she definitely come out man meat. But she was probably fed up because she was, in his mind, he wanted her to cooperate with his turn. Well, you supposed to cook. I'm a man. You're supposed to come out. You're supposed to, well, because I'm paying all the bills. So that's what I'm saying. That's from my point of view. That's what seems to be the creation of all this tension in the relationship, and where a lot of people might believe that there is this gender war, because at the end of the day, we have both men and women that aren't, quote unquote, in alignment when it comes to what they want for the future individually, as well as the values in which, you know, they make decisions through. But because, again, they're, quote unquote, sexually attracted to each other,
right?
They believe that they're supposed to be with each other. So now they start making these permanent decisions like having kids, and then their relationship never seems to get any traction because it's always tension due to the fact that both of them is trying to get each other to cooperate with each other's opposite terms.
I believe the tension comes from the both sides not really knowing the
being
other
empathetic,
side.
exactly,
and more so than not, the women think they're the same. They think men are the same as them. They think men think like them, and men are, you know, living the same experience as them. So they try to, you know, compare apples to apples when it comes to men and women, when it's like that's apples and oranges that you're comparing. You know what I'm saying? There was a video when the guy had broke it down and was going through and talking about the characteristics of the woman, and you know how they, you know, how we as men are, and how women and what they go through. And I want y'all to check this video out and tell me what you think.
Women are born on top of the mountain. Men are born in the valleys around it. A man is judged by how high he climbs. A woman is judged by how far she falls. Men have much to gain. Women have much to lose. Masculinity is built. Femininity is preserved. But I think sometimes as men, it's easy to begrudge our journey, and sometimes women begrudge their journey. This is just the programming, and I don't pretend to understand why that's above my pay grade, but I do know that this is a reality. We are on different journeys. And there's a role for a man where he has to step up and prove himself. And one thing men learn really, really quickly is, one, we're expendable. And we should be. We are here to preserve our females and our children. That's what men are supposed to do. Not only are we expendable, but the only value that a man has is the value that he provides for somebody else. Whereas women have a completely different framework that they're operating within. They already have intrinsic value, and they are the ones that are going to carry the human race into the future. So as men, it is our job to protect femininity, not to degrade it or to destroy it or to manipulate it, which so many men do, but to be protectors of it, that are going to stand their watch. And when the night is the darkest, that's when you need men out there. When the wolves are howling, you need a man out there that's going to take care of it, that's willing to lay down his life to protect the things that he loves most and to preserve the women in his life and the children in his life. And there's no shame in that. That is the journey that all of us men are on.
Man, he couldn't have said it any better.
You know, it's interesting. I'm listening. You know, he said an important word that most people skipped over. He said programming. He said, I don't pretend to understand the programming, but I do accept it for what it is.
Right.
And that's what most people struggle with. Most men and women. You know, we struggle with accepting that, again, where none of us are the architects of the programming, but the programming just is what it is. Going back to this is the paradigm or the program that we were born into.
Right.
It is just what it is. And so as a man, the more you try to operate outside of what he was just talking about, the more attention you're going to have in your life.
Right.
Same with the woman.
Right.
The more you try to operate outside of that sense of preservation, you know, the more attention. That's why it's funny to me when I hear, you know, oh, my man cheated on me, and then I went in and cheated back with his friend or
with
something,
his brother and shit.
But it's just like
cousin.
You actually made yourself look worse than him in that regard.
Exactly.
Because again, your programming is that of preservation. So you just muddied up your own. You made a decision that muddied yourself up.
Yeah, muddied your own waters.
You muddied your own waters, and so. When it's all said and done, as he was saying, like we're just we're operating from our own different frames. Going back to last week, everyone has their own universe, but in this regard, male and female universe, it's just two different journeys.
But we
need each other. But
they work cohesively together.
Yes,
they really do. Like the gentleman said in the video, you know, in the late midnight hour, you know, when the wolves are coming. You know, the men, we got to go out there and protect our women and children. You know, that's what moves our civilization forward. The woman, they're the nurture and the cradle of civilization. The womb is very special, you know, and it should be protected. By all means. So, like you said, we're not here. Yeah, it will be protected. It must be protected, and we're not here to. It ain't. The woman is not here to be manipulated, to be controlled, or to be put down or any regard like that. And so, I just like to say that to the woman out here, like a, your average man and your decent man, is not against you. Then there are some assholes out here. There's some jerks. There's some
The
people,
wolves, as he said.
there's some people out here with some mental, issues, and vice versa. There's
Yeah.
some women out here who screwed up in the head. But for the most part, we all understand our role and what it is, and we just want everyone else to understand theirs.
Yep. So to kind of nip it on up, before we kind of nip it on up, there was another young lady. What was her name? Heavenly or Levy?
Heavy.
Heavy or Levy?
Yeah, something
Heavy.
like that.
But she actually had a good, interesting perspective on the gender war as well. That I want to
She
cover
did. She
real
really
quick.
did. Let's tap into that.
Look, I'm just going to say it. Ladies, please stop. And I mean, for the love of God, please stop making videos where you're shitting on men. Like, there's nothing cute about that. There's nothing empowering about degrading an entire gender because of one or two guys that may have hurt you in the past. Like, we literally have an entire system that is trying to control us and instill fear into us. And you are out here creating a gender war. Like, we have bigger fish to fry. And I mean, if you look in my comments, you will see hundreds of comments coming through from men that are just upset and they're hurt. And you're literally doing to them what you accuse them of doing to you. And it just creates this cycle. And it's toxic. And it's not helping anybody. So please do yourself a favor and just stop.
Man.
I mean, it's just that simple. And again, both sides, quote unquote, need to stop
Oh yeah.
and grow up, be self-governing, and move forward. You know what I mean? So we can make progress in. Because that's my thing now moving forward is like, what's people's vision for the future? If we are to maintain this quote unquote gender war, like what does the future look like? Because again, if going back to just the bigger picture of, women wanting to be in, the workforce and political power, whereas men wanting women to be, in roles in the home as wife and mother, we pretty much seem to know what men's vision is, but I'm just curious, like women, like what is your vision for the future?
And who is supposed to fulfill that role in the home? That role is still a necessity.
Because again, if their thing is we want to be in the political spectrum and workforce, and okay, cool. But then again, now to your point, well, who's
Raising our children.
yeah, who's raising the kids?
And who's making the house a home?
Yeah, who's
Who
doing
is
that?
And who we leaving that up to? You know what I'm saying? And then another thing that comes across in this gender war, quote unquote, women get upset because a lot of men choose maybe. Well, I'm talking about as far as in our ethnicity, us being Americans of African descent. We tend to have this battle like, oh, they'll go outside their race to get another. They get upset. The women get upset when we are with a Caucasian woman or with a Mexican or whatever the case may be, and it's like they get upset. But they really don't realize or understand or look at why the person or the man that's got all this money is deciding to find solace and solitude
Yes.
with this woman of another race.
Yes.
I seen this video on Fresh and Fit, right? Then the woman, let me alert you, y'all. I know this is gonna rub y'all wrong from the onset of it, but just take a deep breath. And I want to point out something to you. And I want you to see how these different ethnicities and their view on their men and husbands.
And again, she doesn't speak for all.
No, she doesn't speak for
all of our Einsteinians out there. Oh, he said all. No.
But this gives you an
not for
idea of what men are choosing.
Yes.
And a man will choose this any day of the week over someone that's, throwing their accomplishments in their face.
I always think everything is a
Their
negotiation.
degrees, very argumentative.
Yeah.
very costuming in their approach and apparel and how they present to the world.
Lascivious.
Very moody.
Yes.
You know, very opinionated. Like, so get into that. I want y'all to check this out.
My soon-to-be husband, like, he treats me well, he respects me, I don't have to ask for anything, but at the same time, I also do what I'm supposed to do with a woman. I cook, I clean, I suck, I fuck, I shut the fuck up. So I know how to keep my man.
If a man has been through shit and he hasn't actually like dealt with it, and you want to push it out of him, you gonna see some shit.
No, but I'm not pushing.
Baby, talk to me. What's wrong? Because he's quiet for 3 hours. He don't want to talk to you right now.
Because he was probably taught as a child.
That's not true. It's just how they're wired. They're not always talkative. They need their space. They don't always want you in their fucking face. And if you are gonna be in their face, why are you nagging about why he's been quiet? Rub that man's feet while he's quiet. Sit on his lap while he plays his game.
But look at
a lot of girls complain about shit that's stupid.
I wake my husband up with a massage and coffee every single morning, and every single night I'm scratching his scalp and like giving him a back massage until he falls asleep. It's important that he falls asleep first. And I would say something that's romantic that he does for me. Well, since I do all of the cooking, it's nice when he takes me out for dinner because it's like a little break and it's just special. And then also even just while we're here in Miami, he's kind of like my little bodyguard, like making sure if there's any men walking by, he just like puts his arm around me and just making sure that I'm protected. That's really romantic, and that's something that a woman could never do for a man.
W. Wow. Fantastic. Wow. Okay. I like it. You are blessed.
I love how they all referred and started by saying my husband.
Yes.
My, like, you are entitled. You know, when people when both genders are fulfilling their roles, you do have a sense of entitlement. You are entitled to certain things, and you know you do. There is a possession that one has,
a sense of possession,
sense of possession that the one has in regards to their mate.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying. And they're like my husband, and at the same time he does this. I don't have to ask for nothing. I don't got to worry about nothing. He take care of everything. Boom, boom, boom. And then the other point the girl brought up, you know, sometimes I know I went through this with you know, my last relationship, and I didn't know that about myself. And after going to therapy, I understood that it's okay because sometimes you don't want to be bothered.
Right.
You know, sometimes when you come in the door for 3 hours, you know, you just quiet and you're decompressing everything that
you need to relax your mind.
Through.
Yeah.
And then some of us grew up in with not a bunch of brothers and sisters and siblings in a household full of kerflama and noise and talking. Some people are just built different and wired different and just, you know, need their time and their space, and eventually they'll warm up and come around. But she made a good point. Like, so instead of arguing, why are you not saying that? Why that? Why this? Why that? Chill, fall back, give him his time, and shut your mouth and maybe go rub his back. You know what he like. You know, go rub his feet. You know, make sure the right show was on. If he like taking baths, go ahead like that. If you want to get in the tub, the water ready for you. Look like you need a good, look like you're a little stressed, baby. I got you.
Yeah,
and give him a little head or something. You know what I mean? You know, I mean, not to be vulgar about it, but I'm just saying it's like she said, if he playing the game, go sit on his lap while he playing the game or whatever the case may be. Sit between his legs or something. You know what I mean? Just lean on him. You know, you could just touch him while you reading a book or something. Just let men do what they need to do, because there's a crazy world out there that we have to thrive in and navigate through.
Yeah,
that's not in our favor.
Yeah,
and you know, so therefore, coming home to peace
and quiet, right,
is essential to survival, and it helps us thrive and keep going and go the extra mile. You know, if I'm already stressed out from arguing with you all night, I get to work or get to whatever it is that's making me money, I can't give 100%. Because you calling me every 10 minutes. You want to know why I ain't called you back? Or I ain't returning your text. I'm working. You know, I'm out here trying to I'm figuring it out. I'm killing the pig so I can bring home the bacon.
Right, right. And you calling me every 5 minutes, just making the pigs run away.
That's
you know
right.
what I'm saying?
Right.
Every time I get her in my crosshairs, oh, there she go again.
And all those women, they got it they have it down to a science. And I'm sure the men that they're with are high earning men. I guarantee you that. And the girl she said
they don't want for nothing.
They don't want for nothing. She said, I know how to, you know, shut the fuck up. You know, not in a negative connotation or not in a controlling way, but sometimes us as men, we don't like. That's what you have your girlfriends for. You call her up on the phone. You go over there. Y'all talk for hours and hours and hours. We just want to just be like chill. Just that's just how we wired. And once we understand the mechanics of the other side, so that and then vice versa. Like we got Valentine's Day coming up, right? So as a man, you got to understand your woman. You can't be like, I ain't fuck Valentine's Day. They emotional creatures. They're into their feelings. So they like all that. Everybody else getting flowers and chocolates and da-da-da-da-da. Of course, you got to play your part. You got to give your woman what she wants and what she needs. It has nothing to do with you, even though we don't get nothing for Valentine's Day 9 times out of 10 anyway. Right. But we don't care. You'll never hear us. You never heard no movement against the men talking about we want our Valentine's Day gifts. Right. We understand it. We deal with it and move on and make sure you got whatever you need. Reservations, whatever. We going out. We gonna do the whole 9. We going away for the weekend, whatever the case may be, because we understand our role and we understand what's important to you. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So.
You know what it all comes down to?
What's that?
It's the dirty little S word. Starts
word.
with an S. Sacrifice.
Oh.
The reason why, like to your point, we don't care about Valentine's Day is, man, I know I do not care. Like 100% do not care. Right. However, we say we care about our women and they care about it. And so as men, we understand that we have to make a self-sacrifice in order for us to be able to get what we want from the woman. Mm-hmm. The women don't seem to understand that.
That brings us to our next topic. How do you build generational wealth without a nuclear family? With traditional family structures changing, is wealth building still a group effort, or can you go at it alone? We're breaking down the myths, the strategies behind the financial legacies in today's society. Let's get into it.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is a big one. Mm-hmm. And I say a big one in regards to the sustainability and the advancements of our culture and our people.
Yeah.
We don't have the mindset or don't seem to have the cognitive aptitude to understand that this is essential, and this is important for our well-being. Mm-hmm. Generational wealth is something that's been happening since the beginning of time, and is, I believe, one of the real reasons that we kind of fall behind.
Oh yeah. We've real quick. Let's just define it. Of course, just the internet, the digital streets definition of it. Generational wealth is a relatively new term, and that it has been around, as you said, for centuries. Mm-hmm. And it's basically building and maintaining generational wealth requires strategic planning and thoughtful investing, and ultimately boils down to you passing down something of values, assets. So in modern times, an asset being something you own that has economic value that also produces some sort of an income. That is what an asset is. That's what the generational wealth boils down to. So that's why things like dividend paying stock, rental property that you rent out, you're the landlord.
Life insurance. You have all different types of categories and classes of assets, those that we just listed being the most primary ones. But nevertheless, those are the type of assets that are required for generational wealth. So again, going back to our previous topic, if there's this quote unquote gender war happening, which means that man and woman is in a state of dissension, how do we collaborate to build generational wealth for our quote unquote loved ones and our children if we can't even see eye to eye? Right. And just on a side note, I am a licensed insurance agent. I'm licensed in California, Georgia, and then the state of Pennsylvania. So if anyone need any policies, feel free to reach out to your boy.
Reach out, my man.
I got you. But I'm serious. How do we achieve this? Mm-hmm. If we're constantly fighting each other and you're not understanding and not being able to work together as a team, as a unit, what happens to the legacy? What happens to the generations after us? You know? And then I just thought about that just now. that's another downside to like when you have kids all over the place.
Yeah. That's actually one of the main reasons why I actually wanted to talk about this.
Yeah.
Specifically for men overall, in that part of our responsibility and duty when it comes to generational wealth is making sure that we don't stretch ourselves thin. And the more children we have outside of our nuclear unit, that's the more we're stretching ourselves thin, because that's more quote unquote economic value that has to go outside of that nuclear household.
Exactly. And yeah, and like you said, you spread yourself thin. Is like you have no money to survive, but now if you got to give Tamika something, then you got to give Shantae something, then you got to give Maria something, then you got
Maylene.
Gloria needs something, and then Rasha Shanita needs something,
Yep.
and then don't forget Catavia. Down there,
They all want their cut.
on the south side.
They all want their cut.
they all there like, I got your baby. Like, what's the deal?
I got your seed.
Right. We're making light of it. We're just joking, but at the same time, like, if you are a man in that position, it is your responsibility to step up to the plate and do what you need to do with all your children.
Yeah.
And,
So take care of them kids.
Oh yeah, you good.
You just have to understand that you're gonna have to get real creative, sir, because it's only so many amount of hours in the day that you can work. And again, you already got however many kids you got. So when it comes to how you go get ahead, it ain't gonna be through getting another job. It's gonna have to be you using these noodles in between your ears to come up with some sort of idea that you're gonna be able to monetize. And so my recommendation to a gentleman in that position is, use what you got. So again, you dad, you Father Abraham, and so again, document that. You know what I mean? Like, people, what's your like you said, what's your solution strategies to
Abraham.
being a multifaceted father in regards to, you got seeds all over the place. So you basically
Johnny Appleseed.
yeah, right. So instead of having one farm that you got to tend to, you got farms all around the city. So maybe that's your value right there, sir. Just don't give up and don't not take care of your kids, because again, a condom would have changed your life, bro.
Yeah, and then when we do have these children, or we have these families, like we said, there's a lot of avenues that can give us wealth that we could pass down. Like we said, the one thing is the life insurance policy.
Yep.
Which
That's
is
actually how it's done.
Yeah, that's exactly how they do it. That's exactly how they do it.
Yeah,
because that money is transferred generationally. If you have it in a trust or whatever the case may be, it's untaxed usually, and then you can use it to keep perpetuating. You don't have to use
roll it
all
over.
It can roll over,
right.
and it goes to your grandchildren.
Infinite banking, I think is the word that they call it.
Matter of fact, we got a video of a guy that breaks it down a whole lot better than I can. So let's tap into that video and just get some more insight on it.
But the power of wealth is in the life insurance policy being owned by your trust. You need to have a separate life insurance policy in a brokerage account. Let's say for your grandkid, you put a $500,000 life insurance policy in a brokerage account that's owned by your trust. You leave that $500,000 life insurance policy for 21 years for your grandkids. $500,000 life insurance policy turns into $1.6 million for your grandkids. But you don't give your grandkids $1.6 million. You only give them half, $800,000. The other $800,000 stays in that brokerage account. Another 21 years for your great-grandchildren. That now turns into about $2.4 million. So you don't give your great-grandchildren all that money. You give them half, stays in that brokerage account for your next great-great-grandchildren. So that's $1.2 million, half still in there. That turns into about 4.6, 4.8. Use a compound interest calculator to get these numbers. So now that money's in there. 4.7, let's say now you don't leave that to your great-great-grandchildren, all of it. You break that down to half. So let's say whatever half of that is. But by the time you get to about 7.5 million, leave that for your fourth grandchildren, you left $13 million.
See how he broke it down?
Just that simple.
And it's just as simple as getting an insurance policy. I told my brother and his children, he got about 7 of them, something like that. Somewhere around there, 6. And I told him, like, get you enough.
You only young, bro, so you don't gotta know the right count.
I'm not, and I don't gotta know their birthdays. 'Cause they will remind you when their birthday is. They will be calling when it's their birthday. I got my niece's birthday coming up May 6th. I know hers for sure. But I told them, get a policy when you're young. Because, if you start now when you're 21.
Compound interest, as you said.
That compound interest. And then you could borrow from that.
Yes.
You could borrow from your death payout benefit while you're still living.
And here's the best part about that. You go repay yourself, you go have to pay yourself back. So you ain't making a payment to the bank. You're making a payment back to yourself, but that money then gets flipped and compounded.
Exactly.
So it's just like that's why they call it infinite banking, because it's like you never lose in a sense.
No, you don't lose. And it's
you never lose.
It's continually compounding and flipping and working in your favor. So any of y'all young G's out there, if you're 21 years old and you're 20s, 30s, like if you're just young,
18,
18, get you, and the younger you are, the cheaper your premium is.
Yeah.
Because there's more time that they allocate for you to, to pay it over years. As you get older, it gets more expensive. Getting the insurance and policy, getting an insurance policy in your 40s was way different than getting it if you're 18 years old. So
yes.
You can get $1 million insurance policy when you're 18 and pay only maybe $20 a month. And I'm just throwing that out there just as an example, compared to when you get to 45, 50.
Hold on. Disclaimer. This is not financial advice.
This is not financial advice.
This is just education.
I mean, some of us, I'm licensed to speak what I'm talking about. So, but once again, you gotta, every person's situation is different. It's based on your health, it's based on your age, and it's based on your environment where you live at. Things like there's a whole lot of integers that go into your premium rate. But the main thing is your age, and the younger you are, the lower the premium, and the older you are, the higher the premium. So
yes.
It's just more beneficial, and then it behooves you to do it while you're young.
And another reason why you want to do it while you're young is because, to your point, not only are you going to get the time and the compound interest, but again, it also helps you develop the next generation that's going to have to take this over. Because right now, I don't know if people understand this, there's a great transfer of wealth that is about to happen. It's being called the Silver Tsunami, the Silver Tsunami was
Tsunami.
Yeah, Tsunami. Yeah.
You don't pronounce the T.
The Silver Tsunami or tsunami, whatever.
You don't pronounce the T.
Whatever. It doesn't matter. This is what I'm talking about.
Let's just talk about language on the
Silver Tsunami. This is pronunciation, or as you like to say, the articulation of words.
Yeah.
So the language, tsunami, y'all know what I'm talking about. Nevertheless, that's basically talking about the age difference between the Asian population, but that generation of the baby boomers, they're about to do what has been now dubbed the Great Wealth Transfer, which is what was the estimate about 80? What is it about? 84 billion? No, $84 trillion. So $84 trillion is in the process of exchanging generations right now.
Through life insurances?
Life insurance is one of the asset classes.
Through generational wealth.
Generational wealth. Like, this is happening right now.
Oh, okay.
So right now we're experiencing, there is the great wealth transfer is happening where basically the baby boom, because again, the baby boomers are retiring, they're getting out of their businesses.
Yeah.
So all that has to get transferred to the next generation, X and millennials, and whoever is next in line.
Z's.
But the point being is that, for those who got started early, those baby boomers, they go have a lot to transfer over.
Correct.
As opposed to those who started late.
Correct.
So again, to your point, timing, it really does matter.
Yeah.
The earlier you start, the better.
And who don't want to start life with, you turn 18 or whatever the case would be, and you got a trust that you're entitled to that got, $1 million in it. It's like, this is kind of off subject, but this is one thing that I have a gripe with, where we have successful people that want their children to get it from the mud, get it out the dirt like they did. And that's totally unfair to the way that the world works and the way the world is working. People are passing down generational wealth in other cultures Why do we feel as though that we have to teach our child the lesson by making them struggle and not giving them access to the finances or not leaving them anything? You could still train the child and let them know, how to make the money or whatever the case may be. I think I seen, was that me and you was talking about how the woman, she was rich and wealthy, and her child wanted something expensive, and she was like, "Well, okay, I'll get it, but you need to understand, for you to get this, you need to work X, Y, amount of
I think that
hours
was like
in the business."
that Cardone, Grant Cardone's wife.
Right.
That was that video.
So what she say exactly? Because I don't.
That was pretty much it.
Yeah, like if you want,
can get whatever they. She was basically saying that the kids can ask for whatever they want. He's got to work. They got to work for it,
right?
And within the business,
within the family business, within the confines of what's already set up to make us money. Mm-hmm. You know, those are one of those things, like you don't get an option. Remember, like we were saying,
right.
They don't have no option when they 2 and 3 years old. What is STEM, STEM. That's what we gonna do.
Yeah, right.
That's what you're gonna do. And then, like, far as that, you want to tap into this wealth, you got to contribute to the family business and to the family, workload.
Yep.
So therefore, you want a Maserati? Sure. I got $10 billion.
Yeah.
You can get a
you have to work for that, though.
Yeah, I need you to put 40 hours in down there. If we got cleaners, if we got
whatever
the business is. If we sell pastrami down there,
you got to go
at
earn
the Grove, I need you to go down there and chop some pastrami, make some sandwiches. You're still showing them the value of hard work and what it is to work hard for.
Not to cut your wisdom off, but as you actually just said that, I kind of had a vision as to your earlier point why parents think they got to make their kids start from scratch and struggle is because the parent don't know how to train them. Because in most of these instances, the parents that are saying those things, they got their money from employment. They didn't get it from a business in many cases. You know what I mean? So they themselves, they just happen to fall into a nice opportunity and they got paid well for it. But since they themselves necessarily have to go through the entrepreneurial journey of creating an idea and, from A to Z, then they don't know how to train their kid, how to take care of the wealth. That's why they telling them what they tell them. So if you know better, then you will do better. But the parent don't know better.
I think it's selfishness.
I mean, a part of it, well, again, selfishness is humans normal. That's our default. So it's normal for somebody to be selfish. It's actually abnormal for them to be selfless. That's why a selfless individual is valued.
Yeah.
And that's why we value people who quote unquote are considerate or quote unquote, are caring, because
it's the same. We get the short end of the stick though.
To be those things, I mean, to be selfish is our natural default setting.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do not. So to me personally, I expect someone to be selfish. That's why I'm impressed when I see someone who is caring.
Understood.
I expect a person, people, not to be, self-sufficient or financially literate. But when I do see someone striving to be, I'm a supporter. Or, so I expect people not to be entrepreneurs. That's why when I see little kids or any man or woman on a corner get what they hustle on, I'm gonna stop and give them some money. Even if I don't buy what they got, because I understand that they are disciplining themselves to do something abnormal.
Right.
Period. Point blank. And building wealth is another one of those abnormal activities, because again, it's time. It's we have delayed gratification. We have to be selfless. We have to sacrifice. We have to be disciplined. We have to forego again immediate gratification. So most human beings, they don't have the ability to do that. So they're not going to build the wealth, even if they have the income. You know what I mean? Because we already know that the lottery winners are, for most of those people, that's the worst thing that happens to them in their life. Yeah. Because they got money and they don't know how to, so they get themselves in a deeper hole.
And they say what the average basketball player is 10 years after.
No, it was it's shorter than that.
7 years.
I believe just the NFL and NBA specifically, they said within 4 years of retirement.
4 years.
Yeah.
Oh wow. There
was a whole documentary on ESPN about it.
Oh.
So, but again, a lot of that comes from a lack of financial literacy.
Yeah.
But again, to be financially literate requires that you read books. You put yourself in environments that you're not familiar with. You're having conversations with people who you're not the smartest person. You're not. So again, your ego, you got to be. That's why it pays to be self-governing and have self-control, and because again, you need that in order to build. Because again, you are walking into an environment that's different. but it's not like anything else that you've ever done in your past. Because again, making that shift from elementary school to junior high school is no different than making the shift from not being financially literate to being financially literate. Because again, every year we matriculate to school, there was a new set of terms we had to learn,
right?
A new schedule, a new everything, a new way of life. Every time we went, we graduated. So it's the same with finances in this case, and building generational wealth.
And like you said, life changes, so it's going to get harder, and things are not going to be the same. So to make it easier for your bloodline, have a little cushion there.
Exactly.
Like pass something down so they don't have to be a victim of the changes or of society. At least they can operate from a comfortable.
They have a stepping stone,
platform,
yeah, exactly.
foundation.
Exactly.
They could be. What's that? We have a video that shows how we have to do better as
our people specifically.
Our people, being Americans from African descent, we definitely have to do better with passing down. I think we passed down what
$0. Maybe one.
Let's dive into that video. I want y'all to check
maybe
this
one.
out. Right.
You see, the average black family passes on, listen to this, $0 to the next generation. Yep, I said 0. That means when somebody dies, the family gets nothing. No wonder we cry so much at funerals. We're grieving twice, grieving over losing a loved one and grieving that they didn't leave us anything. You see, other ethnic groups leave wills, but we leave bills. Well, what does Proverbs 13:22 say? A good person leaves an inheritance to his children's children. That means our money should impact at least 3 generations. It should impact ours, our children's, and our grandchildren's. So we have to start building generational wealth.
And just like that.
And
it's that simple.
And I could really attest to that because I just lost my mother recently, and she left. I'm just in awe of how a mother's love for the child, resonates after they're dead and gone. And, she left me an inheritance and she left me some assets, so therefore now my life is operating from a whole different standpoint.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
You got a stepping stone,
a
platform, a foundation, as you just said.
And it's just unbelievable. And it's just wow, it's amazing how your parent can foresee and make provisions for you. And I encourage us all to do it. Like now, and I have a few policies, managed market accounts and managed money accounts and policies, and I don't want to say
accounts.
I don't want to say too much because my family be done killed my ass. Trying to get them.
We bought $200,
but I'm definitely worth way more dead than alive.
Don't you got a money market? What was that account you said?
No, they trying to kill me because they know all my shit is going to a trust which the family will benefit from. So I be done walk that in the like, oh shit. I'm just joking. I don't got nothing. They not coming to y'all.
I'm broke, baby.
But yeah, it's very it's a wonderful thing when you can operate from a standpoint of not having to worry about jobs and I still work and everything, but if I lose my job today or tomorrow, I'll be good until I get another job. That's for sure. So I encourage all the parents out there to get policies for these for your kids. It don't matter how young they are. Get them policies. Pay that $7 a month. I mean, we spend more. I was just talking to you yesterday about Uber Eats. Every time I eat, it costs $35 goddamn dollars, and we talking about eating 2 to 3 times a day. It's like, how can I be spending $90 a day on food?
But to your point, that's we have. And specifically in our community, in Americans of African descent, we have the money, but because we have no plan, we have no strategy. we don't understand that it's just leave it in as soon as it's coming in. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's out as soon as it come in.
Right.
Because again, we spending $35 a meal on Uber Eats, or we, you know, as a woman, we expecting the man to send us $100 a day for lunch. You know what I'm saying?
You see
Like-
the video where the girl got mad and she broke up with the guy because she said, "Could you send me something for lunch?" And he sent her 30 bucks.
I think it was 30.
Yeah, he sent
somewhere
her
between 30
bucks.
and 50.
Yeah, and she was like livid about it. Like $30, I can't do nothing with 30. Well, if you can't eat with $30, miss, you might need to eat something else. $30, you can get you a nice meal. You might have to buy your drink or something. You know, it might include a drink, but you can get a nice meal for $30.
But before we wrap things up, just ultimately remember, ladies and gentlemen, generational wealth is possible, but it requires teamwork.
And it's necessary, not just possible.
It's possible, it's necessary, but again, it requires teamwork. It requires working with someone else. And again, if you, because I'm realizing now, being single is a mindset, just like being a family man or a family woman is a mindset. So if you're in the type of even if you are the type of individual where you just want to do everything for yourself, you still need some generational wealth.
Yeah.
Because again, I'm pretty sure that you most likely gonna have a niece or nephew or something that somebody you want to look out for.
Right.
And plus, even your own care in your old age, you gonna need wealth for that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And that's the biggest thing I think people overlook, especially in our generation.
Yeah.
And in light of my grandfather passed, and now being with my granny in her golden years, that's what I'm realizing. A lot of people in my generation and younger, we're not even taking that into consideration.
Yeah.
And it ain't about just depending on somebody, but it's about y'all both understanding that y'all are both human, and inevitably y'all both gonna get old, and y'all go both need some resources to care for yourselves.
Yeah, I took some money and I invested in a retirement account. Because we all inevitably gonna get old, and just because you got children, don't mean they gonna take care of you. I'm just telling you, I done seen it. I done seen kids that don't give a fuck. They done pulled the cord on their parents or whatever, and the parents don't come around.
Dropped them off at a
nursing home,
and literally deuces.
And say deuces. So just because I got kids, or people might say, well, I'm gonna have kids. Those kids aren't guaranteed to turn out considerate and thoughtful and compassionate. So just keep that in mind. Your retirement. We can't work forever.
Yeah.
And you understand what I'm saying. And we ain't gonna live forever. So with those being two definites, we definitely need to act accordingly.
Yes, sir.
Now that brings us to our next topic. Is most stress self-inflicted? Are we making life harder than it has to be? Whether it's relationships, money, or personal struggles, how much of the pressure we feel is actually within our control? Let's dive into that topic. Self-inflicted stress.
Yes.
How you feel about that?
Well, what made me think about this topic was kind of piggybacking off of the previous two, in that stress seems to be what's fueling this gender war. And if we have this gender war, then that means that we're not able to build nuclear households, which means that our ability to build generational wealth is going to be stifled. It's like we're being an enemy to our own progress. And so then like I said, thinking about coming from a health perspective, it's like, well, what's really the impact of stress on all this? And so when we just kind of, again, we want to define it, start with our definitions. So as we see here, distress is a natural, physiological, and psychological response to perceived or real threats or challenges. And the word to me that sticks out in this definition is perceived.
Right.
Perceived. So it is possible for someone to be stressed out simply because of how they are perceiving something.
Right. They say stress can be both self-inflicted and externally imposed, depending on the situation and how we perceive and respond to challenges. Right. So that perception is
So our perception matters when it comes to stress. Here's another one from the APA real quick. It says stress is a normal reaction to everyday pressures, but can become unhealthy when it upsets your day-to-day functioning. And that's why I wanted to discuss this, because it seems to me that a lot of people are stressed out over perceived threats, not real threats, but just perceived. So things that aren't even happening, things that never happened, just things that they thought about. That's it. It's just the thought alone is stressing. It just has them stressed out.
I got a list of some self-inflicted stress.
Okay.
Number one, they say overthinking and negative self-talk. Dwelling on worst case scenarios or past mistakes can create unnecessary anxiety.
Yeah.
So always thinking about the past or what stood out to me, tiny or should. That's what they talking about. What should, like, because you think what should have happened, what shouldn't have happened, and then that puts you on this whole mindset of being anxious and having anxiety and
abrupt
and you like tense,
apprehensive,
you all tense and like, oh shit, like I should have did this, I should have did that, boom boom boom.
And now to piggyback back on last week's topic, moving on from critical race theory and reliving that horror story of slavery and racism,
overthinking,
stress,
and negative self-talk.
stress.
Number two, perfectionism. Setting unrealistic expectations for yourself can lead to frustration and burnout.
Case in point, he has to be 6 feet, 6 figures, 6. And if I don't get that, but again, baby, you are stressing yourself out over perfection.
Yeah,
and it's never going to happen.
and setting yourself up to miss probably the person that's ideal for you.
But even the fellas, like, oh, she got to be Victoria's Secret model. She got to be a virgin. She got to be as pure as white as snow. But it's like, bro, like that doesn't exist. Stop stressing yourself out.
That part. Number three, poor time management. Procrastination or overcommitting to tasks can create overwhelming pressure. That was a great point. Like, I
remember that in college.
Yeah. I learned that in college too when they taught us time management. Like, time management is important because now that you faced with a deadline that's due in the next 3 hours or tomorrow, and then life happens. Now it's like, I don't know what to do, and now you're snapping on people that surround you, and just going out of control. Number four, unhealthy comparisons. This was a good one. Constantly measuring yourself against others, especially on social media, can cause self-imposed stress.
Case in point. Oh, man. I saw Lil Tay-Tay. He got the new Lexus on Dubs. Oh, man. He think he better than me. I got to show him. Let me go. I got to go work a double, triple shift overtime so I can get my paper up. But now you're stressing yourself out trying to compare yourself to Lil Tay-Tay.
And then sometimes they don't even go that far to say, or let me work extra. Because I would think that's a good way to think. Like, okay, if that's what you want, you need to do something. But then you have those people that, go through social media and see people that have, the people that's taking the pictures in the jets or they jet setting or
which is
vacationing.
all the stage, might I add.
And then they're sitting there, start the negative self-talk. And
stressing yourself out.
Right. And then you sitting there like, damn, my life ain't like that. I ain't shit. I don't go nowhere. I ain't ever do this. Like, and then it's like, stop comparing yourself to social media because it's all a facade anyway on social media.
That's what I was saying. Whole time they just rented out the jet set at the local studio.
Yeah,
for $100 an hour. And
I had told somebody about my social media that I'll share because I don't care. Anything I post is something that I sit there and I plan to post it or whatever the case may be. It's like my best times and fun times I don't even post. So if I'm out on vacation and if you see me post something, no, that's just something that I had, because when I'm having my most fun, those moments don't even get posted because I ain't thinking about my phone.
Yeah, you're in the moment, right?
So that's why. So me, living like that, I noticed I look at other people's stuff like that. Like I could really see how people stage photos and they stand them there before they start walking into the frame, or they try to make it seem like they here or there. I was like, that's crazy.
So basically, they just be stressing themselves out trying to get the perfect shot.
Trying to get the perfect shot instead of just enjoying it. And whatever you got in your phone that you could post it. If not, but that's how I am. Like whatever I got in my phone, like if I'm like,
so you don't let it stress you out.
Hell no, like because I don't like nobody knowing who I'm with and where I'm at anyway. So therefore, like, so if I just do something, it's like just like a. If I'm on live, I do a lot of live feed where it's just like, you know, you'll see that, you see what I'm doing. But any stage shit, perfect setting, I'm not doing it.
We can tell it's staged.
Right.
And anyway, we can tell you stressed yourself out a lot just to get that stage shot.
Like I said,
don't stress yourself out.
When I'm having my best times, my phone ain't on my mind. That's for sure. And the last one that says lack of boundaries. Saying yes to everything and not setting limits can lead to emotional exhaustion.
I agree.
And that's because I had to realize that because, you know, I went through a phase of like just trying to help a lot of people and saying yes. And if someone asks me something, you know, I try to always be there.
I got it.
You know, because I understand what it, I know the hurtfulness of a no. You know, growing up, you know, not having, you know, everything that you wanted or what you thought you should have or what your fellow classmates and stuff had. So when you asked for it and then got told no, that hurted me coming up. And I think it hurts all, you know, people coming up. But I had to realize, like, I got to have some boundaries.
Yes.
I can't just be, you can't save everybody. You can't help everybody.
You end up stressing yourself out by trying to help everybody else out.
And then they turn out to be
ungrateful.
Not ungrateful, but they turned out in some instance, in one of the things that I'm going through, they turned out to be someone that said, fuck you. You know, after you done helped them. And then, you know,
that would be ungrateful in my book.
Now it's time for them. I think it's worse than ungrateful.
Oh, well, because there it is too. I'll rock with that.
I think it's worse because I think ungrateful could be, you know, I could pay you back your money and still be ungrateful about it.
Okay.
But I get my, you know, you pay your money back, and it's like, you know. But I think in this instance, this motherfucker didn't pay me my money back that I, you know, loaned to them.
Selling my seat for this one
to help them. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, it was like, oh my God, and through that journey, and
so
through
now
that,
you feel like they played you.
They felt they did.
They did play you.
You know what I'm saying? Now I gotta, you know, get an attorney and go to court and all this shit because I'm gonna get mine at the end of the day.
We go get it.
And it's just, I hate the fact that I got to go through all this just for trying to help somebody out.
So now you got unnecessary stress having to hire a lawyer, going through the process.
Yeah.
Just because you tried to help somebody out.
And then it was a substantial amount of money. So now that fucked up my finances, and, you know, now I'm accruing extra interest on certain amounts. It fucked my whole, you know, my whole credit rating. Through a whole monkey wrench. And so through that, you know what I'm saying? And like, that's what I learned about the tyranny of shit that helped me get through that situation. You know, it's like, what's next? Now I got to come out of this knowing what I shouldn't have done and what I won't be doing. I came out of that knowing what wasn't the right thing to do. And I've learned, and I came out of it better. And, you know, I'm moving forward, you know, to what's next, knowing that, you know, you can't help everybody. You got to have boundaries, and you got to know how to say no.
Yeah.
Even if you can help them, you just can't.
So, ladies and gentlemen, just to not cut his wisdom, he was just on my tip. Pause for tsunami.
What'd I say?
I believe the word is tyranny, not tyranny. So that's why I be saying. That's why I be letting this stuff slide a lot of the times, because I know when I mess up, or if I do mess up.
What I say, the tyranny of shit?
No, you said the tyranny. No, it's well, to my understanding, the word is tyranny.
I mean, we can always.
But I know what you. I know what you. Yeah, I mean,
we can always pull it up and
pull it up real quick, ladies and
exactly.
Let's
what's the phonetics of it is.
Yeah, let's pull it up real quick. Tyranny.
And what did I say? I said
tyranny.
Tyranny. I'm sure that's not it. I'm probably wrong.
So, what does it say, ladies and gentlemen?
Tyranny.
So he said. I said tyranny. You said so. Yeah, so it's tyranny or shit.
I said tyranny.
Yeah, you said tyranny.
My bad. like I said,
even we not flawless, y'all. We make mistakes all the time. So you done seen both of us make a language mistake today, but like you said, we work together. We're able to move forward.
Right. So, thanks for that correct pronunciation of tyranny of the tyranny.
Yeah,
not tyranny, but tyranny is a word, isn't it?
That's what I'm saying. Tomato, potato.
Is it just
that's why I said
tomato. Okay.
Tsunami Tucson.
No.
You said no.
No.
Oh my God.
I got a friend named Tosha, right? And she spelled her name Ptosha. The P is silent. And if you call her Patosha, she would have a fit. Shout out to you, Toast. So yeah, so when those letters are silent, it's important.
So maybe that's what it is. Them silent letters.
Yeah,
that's what it is. They just them silent letters. But anyway, back to stress. Sometimes you just gotta laugh though. You know what I mean? That's a great stress reliever. I've learned. But to ultimately to bring it back to your point, you know, a lot of stress is just due to perceived threats. It's not even stuff that's really happening.
Because I want to say to the perceived aspect of it, there's enough external imposed stress that we don't have any control over.
Exactly.
Life is going to give us enough opportunities and moments where we have no control over it. Like, I got a list of some externally exposed stress: work and financial pressure, deadlines, job demands. The financial struggles can create unavoidable stress. Health issues, having chronic illnesses or pain or unexpected medical conditions contributes to stress. Family and relationship problems, conflict, breakups, or loss of a loved one can significantly impact mental well-being. Societal expectations, cultural or societal pressures to conform to specific roles or standards can be stressful. And uncontrollable events like natural disasters, accidents, or unexpected life changes can cause stress beyond one's control. There's a lot of things that's going to come that's stressful that we cannot control. So let's make sure we have the mental capacity to deal with them and not be all caught up in stuff of the things we can control. That's self-inflicted.
So to give you guys an idea of what I mean by perceived threats, there's a video of a young man. He's in class and he's just having a discussion. Seems like they're talking about the recent, presidential election and some of Trump's policies. And so he's asking the class something around, what rights is Trump taking away, and why do you need abortion, things of that nature. So let's go.
Also said publicly, he's not going to do no president.
He's a liar. Do you believe him?
And he said, nigga, y'all only want Kamala Harris.
Your body, my choice. That's what Nick.
Why do you need an abortion? Why do you care about abortion? You're in high school.
It doesn't matter.
You're in high school.
Women get pregnant. Women our ages get pregnant.
Is you getting pregnant? Is you getting pregnant? Did you get pregnant once?
I shouldn't have to fear that though.
Are you even you're probably a virgin.
So the reason why that video stuck out to me in light of this discussion about stress is because it's like the young lady that she was off camera, you didn't see her, but she was stressing herself out over a perceived threat. And my question to her is like, what threat did you perceive by him asking, or y'all having that line in the questioning? Like, what was the threat? Like, what was you perceiving that made you stress yourself out to the point where you start boohoo crying in class?
Being a virgin, being young, not even having sex.
Yeah.
And she's challenged by the perception of abortions. And not even realizing that she's so overwhelmed, not even listening to, because like the young man said, he wasn't taking it away from them. He wasn't banning it. It was just, the decision was left to the individual states or whatever the case may be. And so she's like going batshit crazy. Like, I shouldn't have to grow up fearful of that. Like,
I mean, it's like, why are we even, but I think you brought this up off camera though, but it's like, why are you even worried about an abortion in high school, or even having one in your? And to me, that's what I be talking about when I say people wonder why we don't have the same relationships as our grandparents did. But it's like our grandparents had a different set of values. Like I doubt that our grandparents would be having that type of discussion. Our grandmothers specifically will be having a discussion in high school about crying about an abortion.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like our grandmothers would not be having that type of discussion. They'll be talking about having a family, you know,
Right.
starting a family and having kids and, you know, doing whatever they was doing. So it's like a lot of the stress that we put ourselves through is just purely from perceived threats, not things that aren't even happening, just things we're thinking about.
Yeah, and you got to understand, like, when these things do happen, we have to control ourselves. We have to understand that, you know, shit happens. That saying, shit happens. And you have to learn how to control yourself, because you'll find yourself lashing out at people around you.
For no reason.
For no reason. You know, definitely no reason for that person that you're lashing out against. Nobody should be subjected to that, you know, because you can't control your feelings and emotions.
Yep.
I remember I was on a trip, and a friend of mine, you know, got upset over something small and minute. And like, they was so upset, and they just lashed out at everybody and just like went off. And I'm like, yo, you need to control your emotions. Like, control your emotions, because
Just stress themselves out.
you stressed yourself. You ain't doing nothing but working yourself up, like, about over something that's external. You know, something that's not even here in this moment. And so you don't work yourself out about something that's going on miles away, that you're ruining the moment and the friendships and the times that you're having presently.
And you stressing us out now.
Yeah, big time, because I was pissed. You know what I mean? Now you stressing us out. You know, it's a guy, he breaks it down like how you should control your stress and all that stuff. I want y'all to tap into that video. Let's pull him up.
People who are stressed can't control their minds. It's that simple. If you can't learn to relax while things are going wrong, you'll never be able to deal with stress. It'll plague you until you die, and you'll inflict the consequences of it onto everyone you meet. People who are stressed tend to be abrupt, they tend to be rude, they tend to be aggressive. And it's simply because they cannot control their own minds. Shit always happens. Things always go wrong. This is the world we live in. You are 100% responsible for your mind and how it operates in the world. If you are wound up, it is because you have wound you up. It wasn't what happened outside of you that wound you up. It was you.
So, like I just said, like, you know, you done let a whole external factor wound you up. Now you like uncontrollable. Now you abrupt. Now you being rude and mean and lashing out. And it's like, yo, get yourself together.
Get it together.
Get yourself together. Like, you control you. You know, don't let no one else or any outside, you know, because there's a lot of things that we can't control. Like we just went through, you know, health issues, family and relationship problems, societal expectations, uncontrollable events like natural disasters. There's enough that's happening that we can't control. So don't let something that you can control like just really just throw you off balance, you know.
And you can control how you respond.
Yes, you can.
You can control that. So I know a lot of people will see something like this and be like, oh, that's not right, because if somebody does something to me, then I deserve, or the tyranny I should be able to do whatever I want because they offended me. But it's just a matter of you having a sense of self-control and understanding that, no, for your best interest, maintain. Because again, as we said, being stressed out, it has both a psychological and a physiological. So again, I would imagine a lot of men endure, you know, a lot of health issues because of stress.
Yeah,
pent up stress.
Yeah, we're not able to speak about it, talk about it, you know, get it out there, vent about it, because, you know, we always have to.
Same thing with women though. Like I'm pretty sure they got a lot of pent up stress and aggression because again, we do not have control. So going back to a podcast I did again with the young lady, it was realizing, you know, I could agree with her on the point of what he's talking about, and that's what I'm referring to when I'm saying self-governance. You know, having a sense of self-control, controlling your mind, controlling your emotions. Like that's what I'm referring to specifically. And if you have two individuals with this level of self-governance, in my opinion, I believe that they can make a lot of progress in life together, moving forward. As long as their vision for the future is in alignment and their values are in alignment, as long as both individuals are are able to maintain that sense of self-control, controlling mind, controlling stress, controlling emotions, and they will be able to move forward and make progress.
Right.
Because life will still be happening, but again, they'll be prepared to handle it when it does.
So to sum it all up, and how you respond, it's all about how you respond. And I want to read this. While some stresses are inevitable, how you perceive and react to them determines whether stress controls you or you control it. Mindfulness, self-care, and problem-solving strategies can help minimize stress, even in difficult situations. So while stress isn't always self-inflicted, a significant portion of it comes from our mindset, our habits, and our choices.
Yes.
So just always keep that in mind. That, like you said, is how we react to it and how we choose to get through it, and making choices of being mindful to be aware of self-care.
Yeah.
I try to have myself for self-care because I my head big enough. See how big my head is. So a lot of shit going on in this motherfucker. So I got to have 2 self-care days, one for me and one for my head. But you got to have those self-care days where you're relaxing, go to the gym, go exercise, go sit in the jacuzzi. If it's something like I like to, little fun fact people don't know about me, I like to color. My sister actually buys.
I like to draw.
My sister actually buys me coloring books to this day, and I sit there and I color because it's very
relaxing.
Therapeutic for me.
Very therapeutic, just like drawing. Right.
I remember I was in Colombia, and of course my sister, she always has everything that you need. She had these water paints and these pictures that you could paint with watercolors, and I sit there and everybody was like, "Wow," because I'm usually boisterous, loud, having a good time. They like, I can't believe you were sitting here I'm like, because this shit just takes over. It's like a zen. It's like I'm in the zone and it's like peaceful. So you got to know what works for you. Like, what are those things that bring you peace? What are those things that put you at ease? And we really need to tap into those things on a regular basis, because there's unforeseen stresses and that's coming at us that we probably don't even perceive, but it's just still because we're so used to living in this life and living in this world. It's constantly building up, so you gotta debrief and you gotta get that stuff up off you and have those moments of self-reflection, self-care, and realize how to solve problems, and not be as confrontational, and all these things that helps minimize stress. So like you said, it's heavily dealing with your mindset, your habits, and your choices.
Yep.
So, all right, this is one of our most fun segments, our live reaction video. Neither one of us have seen this video,
so we'll be genuine.
So we'll be definitely genuine. Full disclaimer, I'm not responsible for anything I might say. But our producer picked a good video for us, and we're going to get into that and give you our live reaction, our thoughts. Let's roll it.
I thought it couldn't get worse after Kanye West said he wanted to free Diddy, but it did. It got way worse. And some Kanye fans are trying to come up with ways to defend him. This guy said some water just got on his screen or something. Listen, man, as much as I would love to believe that water would have to be so precise in order to tweet this, and then follow it up with this, and this, and this, and these, and then this one that I can't even show in a video, and this one which I also can't show in a video. A lot of people are also commenting on my video saying, but he released Graduation. It doesn't matter anymore what this guy releases. This guy is done. We are moving on from Kanye West.
I mean, personally, I had been noticing something was wrong, or not wrong, but something he must be promoting an album. Something must be coming out. He must be dropping something, because I've noticed that whenever Kanye starts around Super Bowl time, he drops his ads and he starts doing all this wilding out on the digital streets, and then maybe a little day after that we find out he's having an album. So maybe this is just a more pre-release Kanye, or just Kanye West being Kanye West.
Yeah, it's Kanye. Like, are we ever surprised by what fucking Kanye do?
I'm still shocked that people are shocked by what Kanye does.
That's what I'm saying. Is how
he gets them every time. And maybe that's his superpower.
He's a marketing genius.
Yes.
He know how to take the vices that we feed into and make it work for his self-aggrandizement. He's worked it. He's worked the system. I've seen a segment on Pierce Morgan, right? And they were saying Oh, it was Jewish people in there, Rabbi Shmuley or whatever. These people in there, and they were like, "Oh, Kanye talking about he hate the Jews and they should be slaves and whip a Jew and all this." And because I guess the point they was arguing was freedom of speech, and like, does that fall under freedom of speech, even if it's hate speech? Or so of course the Jewish people were trying to say no, he's inciting people to hate each other, and like who's really whipping Jews? Who's what I'm saying? He's saying things to spark interest, to spark a
conversation and reactions. Right. That's what I'm saying. He does this.
Right. I think I think he tweeted, "I love Hitler. Now what, bitch?" or whatever. I don't know.
That looks like that's what that could be.
Right. And now, to play the devil's advocate, have any of us listened to Hitler's speeches in English?
Hey.
How about I challenge you to do that before we go with the propaganda and the story that they give you about Hitler, and I don't want
programming
and the programming that they give you. I don't want to come off as a anti-Semitic and all that, but listen to some of them speeches what he was saying in English. And so you could really hear what he was saying and what he stood for. He was a nationalist. He stood for his nation.
Yep.
And the people in Germany were they said at that time Germany and Berlin was known for a lot of lasciviousness,
right?
A lot of pornography and homosexuality, and the books and stuff that they were burning were books that included.
He wanted to clean all that
up. The homosexuality acts and pornography and stuff like that, child pornography, and so he was trying to clean all that up. And when Hitler was ruling, Germany became a significant player in the on the world stage.
That's how they was able to do what they did.
That's how they was able to do what they did. And about the story they give us is that he was anti-Jews and it was killing them, and he did the Holocaust and all that. But at the same time, he felt like these same people were trying to destroy
his people.
Yeah. So where's the thin line when a group of people is coming to destroy your people, and you stand up to fight back?
Yeah.
Who's the heavy in that situation? Who's the villain?
Yeah.
The person that is coming to attack and take over a land that's not theirs, or the person that fights back and prevents you from taking over my land and like this. So I'm sure that wasn't the reaction y'all thought I was going to say, but
but
I'm just saying.
Before we leave, though, to your point, that's one of the things I enjoy about life is challenging yourself mentally, though.
Yeah.
Questioning things.
Yeah.
Because when I shared that video of Hitler's speeches in English, it was just like a whole new world flashed before my eye, because I'm just like, well, damn. If again, going back to understanding people's perspectives, being empathetic, if this is where they were coming from, then I can understand like why they had so much smoke for that group of people.
Right.
But again, we only but like you said, we were just taught the story of, because we don't know we don't know German.
Right.
So we just, prior to him hearing his speeches, I'm just thinking, oh yeah, he sound angry. He just sound angry and mad. Like he just trying to like you said, kill the Jews, and he the Holocaust guy. Because I remember, like, believe it or not, I remember being a kid in like elementary school and them showing us Schindler's List.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah,
and just it was like just seeing that, those images bleached, was staying in my mind as to what quote unquote the Nazi Party and Hitler and all that represented, and that's what I carried up until the majority of my life, until I saw those speeches, and I'm just like, well, damn, like,
because I
see where he was coming from.
Almost every group of people on this planet went through some type of persecution.
Yeah,
so we can't sit here and say their persecution supersedes or outshadows or should be referred to more than someone else's. It's all injustices across the board, and like they see slavery. Like slavery was a regular practice throughout the world.
Yeah,
so they say when we talk about slavery, like they had slaves everywhere. So they get on us and say we can't be too adamant about slavery and want any reparations, and they kind of downplay it because everyone else was doing it.
You know, it's crazy. I saw an interesting video that was talking about that, in that he was talking about how they'll, a lot of people will say, like you said, oh, slavery was all around the world, and then if black people or Americans of African descent or Africans are like, oh, well, trying to talk about anybody else doing it, they'll be like, well, Africans sold their own people into slavery.
Mm-hmm.
But the video made the point of that's not true, because would you say that a Polish a German person and an Irish person is the same?
Right. Yeah, because they made the correlation of Africa being
white supremacy specifically making Africa just one
big
monolith,
one blanket of black.
Yeah, one monolith of black. Right.
There's multiple countries within Africa, and they all have their own ideology and their own footprint on the world. Right. And one country doesn't necessarily think they're part of the other country.
Right.
They're all their own entities.
Exactly.
And I've learned that from traveling to Africa, because I met Congolese and I met people from Nigeria, and they all are in their own. They're in their own country. They have their own country and their own way of being, and their own ideologies, and the way they fellowship and talk and live, quote unquote.
They have their own customs.
Yes, and they're all
but they're not
different.
this. But so again, going back to the slavery days, let's just say a Nigerian and a Sierra Leonean, like contrary to popular belief, if the Nigerians had Sierra Leonean slaves, or the Sierra Leoneans had Nigerian slaves, as far as the Sierra Leoneans and Nigerians trading those people, those weren't their people.
Right.
Those were our ops.
Those were the other people. The other people.
That was the enemy. That
was the enemy.
So it wasn't. So to people's points, no, it wasn't that the Africans sold their own people. No, they sold their enemies. So they sold their prisoners,
right?
Who happened to be people that quote unquote had the same hue. But if that same argument wouldn't be made if like I said, Germans and French,
right?
Like you wouldn't say, oh, Hitler or the Germans enslaved their own people.
Their own people.
The Germans did this to the Jews, or the Germans did this to the French. But it's the same for quote unquote Africans. But that's not how it's branded.
And then to bring it back to the whole Jewish thing, I challenge you to think, if the Jewish people were coming to take over that land and whatever, and impart their religious beliefs or whatever the case may be. But if you go back to the scriptural context of Jews, and how the Jewish people, that's why they call it JEWISH, Jewish, because they're not, because what the Bible tell you, the true Jews are, the 12 tribes of Israel.
One of those, right?
Yeah, so which have,
tribes, right?
Are people of color. So and the Bible teaches you how they stole the birthright, and then went on and kept perpetuating as if they were the one with the birthright. And it kind of makes sense, because they fight so hard with the propaganda to keep you uninformed. They open up the vaults in Russia. They open up the vaults in the Vatican. And what did we see? We seen black pictures of Jesus. I mean, black as this my T-shirt. You know what I'm saying? So you have to think, why was that suppressed?
Yeah.
Why would you suppress a accurate picture of the Savior and replace it with the picture of the painter's boyfriend?
Right.
Because they say that's who the picture that y'all see was the artist's boyfriend, and when he did all those paintings, that's that they exalt. So if the Jewish people were going there to do that, and then we fast forward and look at America, and then you listen to what Kanye is saying, I think we're all smart enough to see
the dots that's
being connected and the points that he's trying to make. And while when he does make the point, they make it seem so outlandish and they try to shut it down. It's like the Jewish community is the only community that you can't say nothing about. How is that? There's a lot of races and ethnicities and cultures, and they the only one that can take everything from you in America and put it, because you can't be anti-Semitic. But the truth of the matter is, we can't be anti-Semitic. We are Semitic. You know what I'm saying? So we come from, that land. We come from that lineage, indirectly or whatever the case would be. So, I'm not one to be all like
Kanye being Kanye.
Kanye knows some, and they did some things to Kanye. Kanye been through some things where, they tried to make him crazy, put him on medication. They stripped him from his deals and everything because they said, because you say one thing that might be all the racist things that are being said. But if it has any inclination to go towards a Jewish person or Jewish community, they take everything from you. Like how? Like what makes y'all better than everybody else? I don't know. I mean, your religion don't tell you that because the Bible said God has no respect of person. We all are brothers and sisters. We all bleed red. We all breathe in the same air. We all want the same things out of life. Life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. We love our families. We love our children. We love to have good times. We like good food. We have more similarities than differences. So why is it that, the subtle differences, get blown out of proportion?
Exactly.
And it's just like, I don't know. It's a lot, like we said, this the Ripple Effect podcast where we, create conversations, give you food for thought and just like to hear what you got to say.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's a wrap for today's episode. The gender war, wealth building without the traditional family, and the stress we carry. These are all connected in ways we don't always realize. The real question is, are we fueling the problem or finding solutions? Thank y'all for tuning in. And until the next time, make sure you like, subscribe, share, comment. You can find us on all the social media platforms. You'll see the description in the link. And we thank you for being here with us. And once again, I'm Quattro.
I'm Diesel.
And always keep thinking, always keep questioning, and always keep creating those ripples. We out.